Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
You're on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a like.
Also, check out our podcast below in the description. Subscribe to that bad boy as well. Talking football, and more football.
We talked recently on the podcast, John, about George Kittle, John Lynch going on CanBR saying basically, we're talking, we're going to work on something. Ian Rapoport on NFL Network said in a few different spots that they're actually not close at all on a George Kittle 49ers contract, that Kittle is a camp. He's not going to hold out. But the vibe is positive, but, quote, they aren't there yet. So this is the situation we're dealing with. And I do wonder, we've talked about Kittle's money so many times. Is there a chance that Kittle's agent hasn't budged $1 off of his original asking price, that he's just saying, guys, $65 million guaranteed. That's what we're looking for.
I stumbled upon Amari Cooper's. Again, I only saw the top 100 when they would tweet things out, just his like 3.5-minute highlight tape.
Yeah.
And you leave going, I'm probably a little harsh on Amari. His highlight tapes, he's a stud. But I think if you're George Kittle, you go, this guy's underachieved, and he made $60 million. And I get the positions. I think you could say with a straight face, like asking the 49ers for $65 million guaranteed and not feel like you're fucking nuts. You're outrageous. Everywhere you look, you're a top 10 player. Every single human that follows football is like, yeah, George Kittle's one of the best players in the league. The Niners say constantly how important he is. All of his teammates say he's the best player on the team. Like,
the other players in the NFL ranked him in the top 10 of the NFL top 100.
Like, for example, when Amari was asking for if he got 60, they were probably asking originally for 75. I think it's like, come on, guys. You're being a little extreme with this. The only pushback the Niners have is, well, look at Austin Hooper. And I think it's just so simple to be like, I don't give a fuck about Austin Hooper. I don't ever want to hear that name again.
And I think if you're Jack Becta, John, if you're George Kittle, you go, look, you have already proven when you signed Kyle Juszczyk, albeit to much less money, that you can take a guy and separate him from his position group, call him an OW and not a fullback, and pay him like an OW and not a fullback. I'm asking for the same treatment, right? I mean, you are the organization that paid a fullback more than anybody else paid him because you said, you know what? Here's what you guys don't understand. He's better than a fullback. And so guess what? I'm better than a tight end.
Dramatically,
I would use their logic against them. Now they'd be like, yeah, well, that was $12 million. But
I think their pushback is going to constantly been, okay, let's just throw Austin Hooper in the trash. Look at how much money relative to other positions Gronk was always signing for, and Travis Kelce and Ertz, who are the three best tight ends. That even if we're going to get crazy, $38 million is crazy, not 65. And I do understand. Like I'm usually tend to be pro team on this one. I think that Becta and Kittle could draw a pretty hard line in the sand, because here's what we've learned, right, about elite players. And I tweeted this the other day about Joey Bosa. It's a little different because like Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Jalen Ramsey, Jamal's going to get paid. Were really high picks. So they had a ton of money. It was easy for them to like skip camp or like I almost called him Kepka. Kittle has not made that much money relative to those guys, right? The guys who were drafted in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Like Joey Bosa, you got paid. Well, he was the 3rd pick in the draft. He had been
what
making
was his rookie
money.
contract? $30 million?
Yeah, it was probably at the time, because it was 4 years ago, 27. Like everyone's like, what's Nick Bosa going to get? I don't know a lot, but he was just the second pick in the draft.
Did that. Well, hold on. We made that video. We said the floor's 110, but honestly, it's higher now.
Yeah,
right?
we were off on that probably.
Well,
when
you said
110.
I said 110 is the floor, and you're like, yeah, but I think 115 or 120 might be the floor. But
so I understand where Kittle goes. These guys are getting his like elite players now, non-quarterback elite players get just stupid money. So I am like, when you say Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Jamal Adams, Jalen Ramsey, you can easily just, if George Kittle had been the second name I listed in that group, no one would be like, oh, what does one of those guys not have in common with the others? I was like, yeah, fucking all those guys are sweet, right? I just think George Kittle views himself as those guys' peers. Like he goes, Joey Bosa's my peer.
That's how the Niners view him.
Who?
That's how the Niners view George Kittle.
Yeah, so that's where I think the pushback is.
Because if the Niners said today George Kittle's available to trade, wouldn't they want what the Raiders got for Khalil Mack?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they'd be at. Like the trade price would be
If
the
I told
same.
you they traded George Kittle and for the Niners because they're so close, it's not worth it to do it Khalil Mack style right before the season,
They're
right?
so close to winning a
Yeah,
Super Bowl. You're saying,
being
being a
good. Like
contender.
to me, if you do the deal, you do it for them. You do it in March, so you can use the picks. If I told you they got 2 ones for George Kittle, what would your first reaction be?
Couldn't have got a second too or a third?
Yeah, or do you also get a guard? You know, do you
Right.
get something?
Yeah. Did you get a corner?
Because I heard Mike Lombardi on his podcast said when you look at Jamal Adams, you go, well, if I'm going to trade you George Kittle or Jamal Adams for picks, right? If I give you Jamal Adams for the first round pick, that's a one-off. We get, in theory, a starter in the first round. You get Jamal Adams. Well, that pick is going to be in the 20s, so you're getting the better player. I'm going to hang up.
You're saying
on.
that's yeah. So
Yeah.
you're saying
So
when
then-
you trade 2 ones, you're actually just trading 1-1.
Well, and you're actually but you're trading 2 starters, big picture for Jamal Adams, but one comes later. So you're like, well, you're giving me 2 starters for Jamal Adams that are unknowns, and one is coming later, so I got to put a tax on that. That's why I get the 3rd rounder as well. But because I don't have to trade him, you know, in New York's situation, I think the Niners could just say, we'll just franchise him. This is a major hypothetical if they were going to trade him. You'd go, well, I'll just keep George Kittle. So you would have to give me like 2 ones, maybe I would ask for the exact same package as Jamal Adams. I'd need 2 ones, another second day pick, and a fucking starter. Because McDougal, the guy they got, that Seattle traded him, Lombardi's like, he had 6 PBUs last year. Jamal Adams had 7. So like, he actually is a functional safety. You know, it's not like he's just some dude that's not going to get cut. That I think you ask for the moon because you simply go, I'm not going to trade him, especially when the guy Jamal was asking for a trade, though they weren't going to give it. Remember the Jalen Ramsey thing, kind of similar. Khalil Mack, a little out of left field. I guess this all surrounds these people ultimately got traded. Say what you want about money. Jamal Adams wanted huge money. Khalil Mack wanted huge money. And I think what Khalil showed everyone, you'll get it when you're an elite player. It's a little NBA-ish. I think you can force your way to it. So if the Niners won't give you the 60, if you're Becta, and you don't just want to play there for 38, I think you can get the 60, guy.
But remember, Khalil Mack didn't show up. And what did Albert Breer? We played the Albert Breer interview on this podcast. You were at the Combine this year. You interviewed Albert Breer for this. We talked about it a ton. He said what? Guys that want to get big money and force to give them big money have to sit out, have to not show up, have to hold out.
Aaron Donald, Michael Thomas.
So
the playbook's there.
Because here's the other part we know: the Niners don't want to be franchising George Kittle, right?
And Kittle's already shown up, so it's like he's not playing that game right now. Like he showed up to get tested or whatever on Tuesday. Like because I would say if I told you right now Kittle had not shown up to get tested and was planning on holding out, would you say that's a top 2 or 3 story in the NFL?
Yeah.
It's definitely for me and you. It's our number 1 story we're talking about every day. But
Mahomes 4th on the NFL top 100. Number 2, Kittle holding out.
Because the one thing we kept getting back to is we've been around Kittle and just, I mean, like most Niner fans, if you follow
him on the podcast.
Yeah, is he a holdout guy? You know. Now Khalil wasn't, but I think Khalil's agent got into his mind like this is going to cost you a lot of money.
Khalil and George Kittle are not using Jamal Adams tactics, but the point is you don't have to use Jamal Adams tactics.
But it is going to be harder for Khalil. Khalil can't get, George Kittle can't get his $60 million if he shows up. Like that's no chance. I think he can't sniff 50 if he shows up. Like to me, he's getting a historic deal, but to me it's still team friendly. If I told you the Niners right now got him for $40 million guaranteed, it's like that's one of the best contracts in the league. Because just look at how much that other group of players that he's in the mix of is going to make.
If you just compared him to the best players and what the best players cost, positionless football.
Well, you just go Joey Bosa, Kittle, elite players, like both teams' best player. One guy got $102 million guaranteed. The other guy might be asking for like 55, might end up signing for like 38. It's like, I get where if you're Kittle and Becta, like, this doesn't fucking make any sense. This is insane. We're not asking for Myles Garrett, who can't hold George Kittle's jock, got $100 million. 100. And at the end of the day, I think it's fair to say Kittle probably signs somewhere between 35 and 50, whether it's for the Niners or whether, who knows, it gets really ugly down the line. But he's not going to he won't get like 70, right? It's just it gets back to Jimmy Graham. That position really gets fucked when you're an all-timer. And say what you want about Jimmy Graham, at the time, Jimmy was by far the most he was an unstoppable force. Remember, he was like fantasy guy, double-digit touchdowns. No, remember the Niners playoff game, him like across the middle. He was sweet.
Yeah,
people forget.
Well,
He's
Jimmy,
easy to make fun of now.
Jimmy, like Kittle, plays for one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL, right? That has to be part of the thinking as well.
But I think he was telling you, yeah, I play for Sean Payton, but I'm still lining up out here. Now,
Yeah.
Kittle's more of an inline blocker.
That was part of his arbitration.
Yeah. I do feel for that position because it'd be one thing. It's like running backs, you can get by. I think most people agree. Like, yeah, you can't get by. Why does every sweet coach love good tight ends? Like Belichick loves the tight end. Kyle loves the tight end. Andy, sucker for the tight end, right? It's like, well, all these guys are using tight ends. It's like their favorite fucking position, you know? I mean, Kelsey, Kittle, Jimmy Graham over the years, Belichick's he drafted dudes killing people. He didn't even care.
Wait a second. So it's like a sixth offensive lineman, but he's also like a bigger Julio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly.
Seems like a useful piece.
You're telling me this guy can block Clowney and also catch red zone touchdowns and get me first downs? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't get enough love.
No.
I feel for the tight end guy. I really do.
I'm with you. Tight end love on this show.
Because I think the wide receiver, you could argue, little inflated, like the top guy, but it's like you can find middle tier guys pretty easily.
Well, you know what tight ends must think? They're like, when coaches slobber over a wide receiver that blocks, like, he blocks a DB. You see who I'm blocking in the trenches? He blocks on a jet sweep. I block on power.
Oh, coach. You want me to double team Clowney with Trent Williams and then work my way to Bobby Wagner to do a little,
be ready to turn around in case the quarterback scrambles and
you want me to block two guys? Oh yeah, the two highest paid guys in their front seven. Oh yeah, I got you. Oh, how's it going out there, Kendrick Bourne, blocking fucking nobody we've ever heard of?
I'm chipping the most expensive guy in their team, their defensive end.
I know. It's always the thing with Mack. Like, I can't believe they asked a tight end to block Khalil Mack. Well, it's like that is part of his job description, right? It's just like that's part of the deal for that guy, whether it's fair or not. Like that is his job.
All right, let us know what you think of this video down in the comments below. And again, subscribe to the channel.
Do it now.